Major League Baseball, we got afternoon action today. We have middle of the day action today. We have night action today for some good nightcaps out there, Detroit and the Athletics. Should we get more runs than what we saw yesterday? Any more grand slams? Any more comebacks from the Athletics? We'll find out. But it starts today in the Bronx, in New York City. 975, 976, that's Washington and New York. Cavalli's on the mound, taking on Max Fried. Hey, welcome back to Major League Baseball. Max Fried with a solid start your last time out. Cavalli is also interesting. A former first-round draft pick, Tommy John surgery, fighting his way back. He has shown some spotlights here that he can get down. 8.5 are the total in the card. Look at this Yankees favorite. Opened up overnight minus 300. We're now sitting at around a 275 price if we call it even throughout most of the outlets here. A 105 start today. That's a big price to pay for Max Fried, but maybe he's back, Joe. Is he?
Well, I mean, he was awful for 2 months, Donny. I mean, he had close to a 7 ERA in 8 starts. But then against the Red Sox, his last time out, 4 hits, 6 scoreless, didn't get the decision. The Yankees ended up losing that game 1-0 on Friday, but maybe, just maybe, that he had figured some things out there. I mean, listen, I think Max Fried is too good a pitcher where he's just, unless he's hurt, that he is going to continue down that path of having a 7 ERA the rest of the way. So if we get the Max Fried like we got last week against the Red Sox, I think, Donnie, there's no reason not to think the Yankees can handle business here. I like the under, early start here. Makes sense that maybe everyone's in a rush to hurry up and end this game as quick as possible.
Yeah, not a ton of innings there for Cavalli, but he does have a 3.89 xFIP number over the past 60 days, which isn't too bad. You take a look here, and I'm trying to find Max Fried, who had that good last start. He's got a close to a 6 ERA still with that good start over the past 60 days and a 4.28 xFIP number. Maybe he is bouncing back. You look at that Yankees lineup, 1 through 6. It looks really good against righties. Grisham, 276 ISO, Rice, 288, Judge, 231, Bellinger, 179, Stanton, 479, and Chisholm at a 309. That's just the last 30 days going up against right-handed pitching. One thing that we do like, Joe, from Yankee Stadium, how about 75 degrees at first pitch with double-digit winds blowing out to the short porch in right field? Something certainly to keep an eye on there. Let's keep it moving. Atlanta and Miami, also a 1 o'clock start here. That's at 110, 951, 952. Atlanta's going to throw Wentz on the mound, the left-handed pitcher, going up against Ryan Gusto. 8.5 as a total, but a slight favorite to Atlanta in this spot. I think Atlanta should be able to pick up that W. If you watched yesterday and you had the under, condolences to you, where the Braves, I think, scored 9 runs in the top of the 9th inning in like a 2-1 or a 2-2 game at that point. But that was also that, Hurston Waldrop, another good start for the Bravos yesterday. But today, Wentz will be on the mound against Gusto.
Yeah, I mean, 9 runs at the top of the 9th is hilarious.
Jeez.
But you know what? If I'm Atlanta and I'm an Atlanta fan, Danny, I got to be going, what could have been? I mean, the fact that there's still 12 games under 500, and yet they have been ripping off wins left and right here in the second part of the season, actually crushing the ball and with no starting pitching. Like Joey Wentz is going again here today. They have had to pick up guys off the scrap heap because everybody has gotten hurt. But he already faced Miami back on August 10th. Yeah. He gave up 1 run, 4 hits, 5 1/3. Atlanta won 7-1. Gusto has been an absolute train wreck since coming over from Houston. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'll take Atlanta because I trust them a little bit more right now.
No, I do. So if that line goes from FanDuel 122 up to 132, and it's primarily in that mid-130s range, I do think that is a smart decision, and Atlanta should be able to hit. Sometimes just about trusting the lineups more than the other one, and you're right about Gusto here. A 5.35 ERA over the past 60 days. Doesn't really hold up his end of the bargain on the mound. Let's take a look at one of the more fun series we're watching right now. A day game on the West Coast, which will start in Washington at 1:10 p.m. But again, East Coast time, that's 4:10. 977, 978. San Diego's going to throw Yu Darvish going up against Brian Wu of the Seattle Mariners. A minus 145 price overnight. That's dropping here. Minus 136 is minus 138 in the marketplace. And a total that's listed at 8 with some outlets at 7.5. We've seen some offense. Is today the day where the offense dies up there at T-Mobile?
It only makes sense, right? Early start here. Yeah. 2 pitchers that are more than capable of limiting the damage. I think this is finally a pitcher's duel here between these 2 teams. So, yeah, under for me.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like you, Darvish, getting back into form. Do you trust the ace at this point? But always those afternoon games sometimes are a little bit squirrely. Getaway day, but also understand this. This isn't your normal clubs here that are playing each other.
No.
Seattle is trying to chase down and take a lead over the Houston Astros. San Diego's doing the same thing. So it's not as if you can't, throwaway day, getaway day, put the bench warmers in there. These games mean so much where maybe, Joe, a month and a half ago, you might see guys like Cal Raleigh resting in this game. That should not be the case today on a getaway day. More Major League Baseball talk right here on the early line coming up next. Full card of Major League Baseball on a Wednesday. Who says no to that on a hump day? Absolutely, we love it. Tomorrow, we'll get our taste of football and still more Major League Baseball, as most of those games will be played in the afternoon. But some of these games starting at 6:35 Eastern, just like this one, the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Bayo's going to be on the mound versus Enns, the left-handed pitcher, a 9 as a total here. A favorite overnight for Bayo and the Boston Red Sox at minus 138. We see now 136s, 143s, 140s, depending where you're shopping at. And once again, that total of 9. Do we get runs today down in Baltimore? And can the Boston Red Sox come away with a victory today?
Well, if Bayo pitches the way that he did against Fried in that game on Friday against the Yankees, then we're not getting 9 runs. We're certainly not getting them from the Orioles here. So, yes, this feels like this is going to be another one of those that maybe Bayo has figured it out and figured it out rather quickly. What are you going to get from the Baltimore pitching staff here at this point? They're bringing guys back from injury. They're throwing guys out there that should have absolutely no business starting games. The bullpen's not any good. So very hard for me to look anywhere at this point other than Boston, who's kind of paying Baltimore back from, handling business at Fenway when they were there last week.
Let's get up to the 6 in Toronto, the first place team in the AL East. They're going to take on the Minnesota Twins. That's the Toronto Blue Jays. Lauer, the lefty, is going to be on the mound, a veteran guy, going up against Simeon Woods Richardson. Now, understand this. He's coming back to Major League Baseball after missing roughly a month, Joe, by having a parasite removed from his intestine. Never a good thing. Had a spot start there in the minors. Wasn't very good. But now he comes up against one of the teams that they've been known to get after it at the plate. The total in this game is listed at 9 across the board, but a heavy favorite for Toronto, Joe. Overnight minus 180, still sitting in that minus 180 range. Who gets that job done tonight? And also, can you trust Woods Richardson, who quite frankly wasn't good before he left Major League Baseball about a month ago to get that surgery?
Yeah, no, you can't trust Woods Richardson, nor can you trust this Minnesota lineup here. And listen, Lauer has, had his moments this year, and he should have no problem, I think, going up against this Minnesota lineup. But the bullpen of Toronto has not been good. Showed up again last night there, maybe getting a little worn down here. So I like Toronto. I like them early in this one. So I'll lay the half a run in the first 5 and look for Toronto to bounce back.
How about that, Toronto? I do think they hit at the plate today. Take a look at Woods Richardson. Again, he hasn't had a lot of innings pitched over the past month, but over his past 60 days, he has a decent ERA, but his xFIP numbers, his analytical numbers, they're really high. And sometimes I do like to take a peek at what did he do in the minors? Well, his last start in the minors, Joe, 6 1/3, 88 pitches, no runs. Okay, he's ready. He got lumped up just a little bit, so we'll see if that carries over playing Toronto in Toronto today. Big ball game today in Flushing. Look, the U.S. Open's going on there. The Philadelphia Phillies are playing the New York Mets. Walker versus McClain. McClain's the youngster that's been pitching fairly well since getting called up to Major League Baseball. Taijuan Walker has actually been decent over the past month and a half. Something has to give today, but I'll tell you this. Just look at the line itself. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Veteran pitcher versus a youngster. Team playing well right now in the Mets. The Phillies not playing so well and can't win at Citi Field. Minus 150s here as a favorite for the New York Mets in a game that's going to start at 7:10 tonight and a total of 8.5. The Phillies look like they're set up just to get swept today, Joe.
They really do. And again, they used all their leverage guys last night and couldn't get the win here. They're 6-4 in their last 10.
Yep.
Not good here. They're playing 500 baseball and they can't, for whatever reason, sight lines, whatever it is, Donny, they can't hit at Citi Field. They can't beat the Mets pitching. I like McClain, though. I like him a lot for the Mets. It feels like maybe, just maybe, we get a tough game early on, maybe a first 5 under for me here, maybe a little bit of a pitcher's battle before the bats get involved, like last night.
Yeah, looking at the, Taiwan Walker, again, does have some pretty good numbers. Not a strikeout pitcher, which does tend to get you in trouble. His power numbers are low over the past 30 days, but also the Mets bats against right-handed pitching, they project very well. Power numbers and weighted on base percentages. We'll see how it plays out. Now, if we do take a look at Nolan McLean, only 45 batters he's faced, Joe, in Major League Baseball. K rate, 31%. You know the Phillies typically have struggles with striking out. Walk rate,
Yeah.
not too bad. ISO power number against, very good. Weighted on base percentage, very good. And he is a ground ball pitcher. Also understand this at Citi Field today. 71-degree temperatures, that's okay tonight. 8-mile-an-hour wind blowing in from left field, so maybe we don't see those home runs and those runs to sort of get you over the hump if you're looking for a total in this spot. Take a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Ryan Nelson's going to be on the mound, taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, the best team in baseball, with Quinn Priester on the mound. Favorite here overnight, minus 150. That's dropping now, Joe. We see minus 142s, minus 145s in the business across those sports books that you would be shopping at. 8s to 8.5 on the total here. Nelson versus Priester. Sometimes you just say to yourself, I don't know if I want to go against Milwaukee regardless of the pitching matchup, which I do like Quentin Priester anyway today.
They haven't lost the start of his, Donnie. I mean, there's no,
Yeah.
it's like, it's ridiculous here. It's absolutely crazy with what's going on here with him. He pitches and Milwaukee figures out ways to win games here. Can't trust Nelson on the road. Although Arizona has been hitting the ball better, they obviously scoring runs isn't an issue. Don't like the usage of the Milwaukee bullpen. So if I'm going anywhere, I'm going early in this one, looking for Milwaukee with a first 5 lead, like they have had the first 2 games of this series, but ultimately gave it up in the latter half of the innings with the bullpen.
Yeah, they like to do that. Again, it's hard just to go against a team that's playing this well, can win in any sort of environment here, being at home. We'll see how that one plays out. Cincinnati and Los Angeles, that's the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani is going to be on the mound today going up against Nick Lodolo, a left-handed pitcher. The favorite overnight, minus 200 or so, still sitting there at minus 205. Highest number I'm seeing right now, minus 210 at BetMGM, and a total that opened up at 8.5 overnight. There are still some 8.5s, but it looks like the prevailing line now has dropped to 8. And I actually agree with that. I think both of these pitchers should be able to hold these teams down. Last night, 6-3 type game? I can picture this being a 5-3 or less type game where this number does stay under the total.
Yeah, it feels like a under spot. I mean, obviously, Ohtani hasn't necessarily been Ohtani since they started to stretch him out here a little bit on the mound. So how many do we get from him, right? I mean, it wasn't a great start last time out. And are we going to get locked down Ohtani? If we do, it doesn't feel. I mean, listen, Kershaw didn't hit 90 miles an hour last night, and the Reds look lost. What are they going to do against Ohtani and now a rejuvenated bullpen of the Dodgers? I'm with you. I would even go Reds team total under in this spot in this game.
Oh, how about that at this point here? Chicago and San Francisco, Joe, the scene of the crime last night for you. Justin Verlander pitching well. Today, it's Whisenhunt, the left-handed pitcher. They're just throwing gems out there with pitchers on the mound. Colin Ray, you know we don't like that guy. Total listed at 8.5 across the board, but a favorite towards the Chicago Cubs. Is this the day that the Cubs say enough is enough? We're going to take care of business, and we're going to hit the baseball?
And I've seen nothing but giant money hit the board here. So, yeah, go figure at this point. The Cubs, just when you thought they had figured it out, they haven't. I mean, Colin Ray is not a guy I ever trust. He has been pretty decent for them over the last month. He's given them some quality starts. But since I don't trust the Cubs bats, I'm looking at an under at Oracle here tonight more than anything else.
Can't trust it. That's what we always like to say there. You look at, again, Colin Ray should be able to get hit. Whisenhunt should be able to get hit, but just that squirrely ballpark here. Let me check the temperatures because I think there's a wind blowing out the center field and also cooler temps. Let's see. Oh, look at that, Joe. 63 degrees by the time you're midway through that game and a wind blowing out the center field of 7.3 miles per hour. It's the summertime. Like, can't we move that ballpark, Joe? Can't we move it inland 40 or 50 miles? Like, why do we have to play baseball in the summer in the low 60s? What gives here?
Yeah, well, that's why that ballpark is so hard to hit in. It's not a hitter's ballpark, and it's why you can't get a lot of big time power hitters to sign with the Giants as free agents. Nobody wants to go there.
That place stinks. By the way, 3 afternoon baseball games once again. Washington and New York, that's the Yankees, Atlanta and Miami, and then also Tampa Bay and Cleveland here before a 4 o'clock start between San Diego and Seattle. And then into our night games we go. Nice baseball slate here on a Wednesday. Mr. Kaufman's going to be up here. We're going to hit more Major League Baseball next. Stay tuned on the Early Line. Fun show on a Wednesday right on the Early Line on the SportsGrid Network. My goodness, the topics that we've gone over today, and maybe the biggest topic of all was Travis Kelce getting engaged to Taylor Swift. But we love ourselves some Major League Baseball. Donny Rightside joined by Joe Raineri as usual. Now we welcome in Adam Kaufman. No stranger to the networks here. You can find him on In Game Live and many other shows across the network. Trying to have some fun in the morning. Rise and shine here, Adam, with us.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Like you said, no stranger to the network, but if you can believe it, guys, This is my debut on the Early Line, so I'm pretty excited to be here with you.
Look at that. Who was holding Adam off the Early Line for so many years? It wasn't me.
Unbelievable.
I'm still here on the show. I love this guy
I get some
across
phone
the network.
calls.
He's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic stuff. But we are talking Major League Baseball to have some fun with today, Adam. And I know there's a huge schedule. I love Wednesday cards where they give us a little bit in the afternoon, a little bit later in the afternoon, and then obviously the nightcap here. So if we're taking a look at some of this action, particularly early, do you have any digs there? A little Cleveland Guardians, a little Tampa Bay Rays action today?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, every day should look like a Wednesday in Major League Baseball. I get why it doesn't from the standpoint of obviously kids back to school and all that stuff. You know, it's hard to have all those day games, but I'm here for it. We want sports to follow and bet on all day long. As far as this game, I like the Rays. I like the Rays in a bounce back off of what happened yesterday, but only to a point. And what I mean by that is I want to invest in the first 5 for Tampa as opposed to the full game. Take the bullpens out of it. Drew Rasmussen has been excellent of late, as I'm sure you guys know. Digging into some of his numbers, obviously he's got the 2.62 ERA on the season. That speaks for itself. But 2 earned runs allowed or fewer in his last 9 outings. Now, I realize not all of those have been lengthy. You know, there are some 2-inning performances in there. But as of late, he's gone at least 5 the last 5 starts, and that production or efficiency has not dropped off. He has a 1.16 ERA this month. So again, when you do the money line, not the result, the money line, so there's still some juice on it, obviously, but it's not crazy. It's in the vicinity of minus 130. I like him to just keep Tampa really right where the Rays should be, which is either even or in front. Worst case scenario, in my mind, you get the push, you get the money back, but I think Tampa's going to be ahead after 5, even if it's, 2-1 or something like that.
Maybe one of the best pitching matchups of the day in Seattle here with Wu taking on Darvish in the rubber match. People can make the argument, maybe this is a preview of things to come in October. Who wins this game here? Who do you give the edge to?
Well, it's an immensely important game for both of these teams, guys, because you got a Mariners team that is trailing by only a game and a half in the AL West, and you have a Padres team that is back only 1 game in the NL West. So these are the only 2 divisions that are still up for grabs at this point. So there's no lack of urgency here in this one. I just think that ultimately Seattle is the better side. I think more of Brian Wu than I do Yu Darvish. Darvish has had some really good performances over the last, 3-4 weeks. But since his season began only last month, remember, he started in early July. He had missed the first part of the year. He has been wildly inconsistent. It'll be scoreless or 1 run allowed, and then it's like 8 runs allowed or 5 runs allowed. So I would rather bet into some level of consistency, which we've seen largely from Wu. 5 quality starts for people that still care about quality starts out of his last 6 outings overall. He's let up just, the 1 run in San Diego when they matched up back in May. I realize a while ago, but even still, he's got that on his resume this year in what was the right side, obviously, of a 6-1 victory. And again, with the importance of the game, the urgency of it, I think the fact that, the Mariners are looking to, also bounce back from, where they have been of late and try and put more of that pressure on the Astros, a team that I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit as well. Houston, with the way that it fell yesterday at home against Colorado, that Valdez and company are going to bounce back with a victory today. And so for Seattle and Wu, this is a, keeping the pace kind of game, and I think the Mariners will do so. So give me Seattle money line full game.
Plus 300 dog price yesterday. Cashed in there for Colorado. Amazing there. You take a look at Tanner Gordon, one of the worst pitchers on the card, comes up with a gem. And sometimes we just say, Adam, that's baseball here. But you know where else we're playing baseball? Down in Baltimore, which I guess the Red Sox, hey, you know what? Let's just stay here an extra couple days and pick up some more wins. A 5-0 win yesterday. They're going to face an opener today in Dietrich Enns, and then Contreras will come in behind them. But Brian Bayo has been very good this season so far for the Sox. Will be on the mound as a favorite, give or take minus 138s to minus 140s in the marketplace, but a total of 9. Do we think Boston's getting out of town with another win down there at Camden Yards?
Look, I would love to tell you I'm backing the Red Sox today because of homerism. I'm not. They're just the better team. Nobody would argue against that. These are two clubs heading in the wrong or opposite directions. You know, we've seen it here in this series, but overall for the season as well. And the Red Sox are trying to put themselves, you know, firmly, if they can, atop the wild card standings in the American League, granted with some weeks still to play in this season. Bayo, like you said, has been excellent. He's not the ace of the staff because, you know, Garrett Crochet exists, but Bayo has been awesome. He's got a 3.07 ERA, sub-3 ERA overall over the last 3 months. So he's just getting better by the start, quite frankly, guys. And, you know, I know you could look back and he faced the Orioles earlier this year. Red Sox won that game 19-5, but he didn't pitch great in there. That was May. What we've seen from him of late over June, July, August has been exceptional. Again, in the vicinity of a 2.6, 2.7 ERA. I think he keeps it up today. And I think the Red Sox, as they get down the stretch here, know how important these games are. So Red Sox money line, I would look into the first 5 as well if you wanted to double dip and play both. And I think we're going to see runs in this one. I would look toward the over.
So the Cubs made Verlander look like he was 20 years younger last night. Do they bounce back today against the Giants?
They have to, and it's not because I think that much of Colin Ray, although, again, he is the better pitcher in this particular matchup, and he's got a 2.5 ERA so far this month. But like you said, sometimes you just need to respond. You know, he got knocked around by the Giants in May, but the Cubs, they've taken 7 out of 10. You got a Giants team that's starting to feel itself a little bit with the 3 straight wins, but you can't go down against Verlander the way that he has pitched over the course of this season. I know there have been some starts that have been a little bit better of late, like the one last night that you outlined, but for Chicago, it's a response game, and I think you're getting value on the money line.
There you go. Adam Kaufman bringing the heat this morning. Also, don't miss out here. We got a little parlay action between Houston and New York. Fading a little Cavalli, fading a little Dollander. You got to step up there, right? Max Fried with a good start last time out. And also Valdez, your ace of the staff. They have to provide it. Thank you for the insight today, Adam. Certainly. Don't be a stranger around these parts here on the early line.
You call me anytime, guys.
We'll be right back on the early line. Come on now. Let's get some W's here. Let's get the people what they want. It's bye, bye, bye. Now, I know you're not going to back a Verlander today, and I know you're probably going to stay far away from the San Francisco Giants and the Chicago Cubs. So what gives today? Where are we going for some action?
Well, I am going to go to the one of the early games this afternoon with the Rays and the Guardians here. We've already started to see under money come in for the full game, little getaway game for both of these teams. But with Rasmussen on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays, runs are going to be hard to come by here for the Guardians. Not to mention, we got cooler temperatures and double-digit winds blowing in from left field at Progressive Field. So don't trust the Guardians lineup as it is. Tampa's in one of these spots where it is a getaway day for them. I'm going to split in half here because I'm going to take the under in the first 5. It was 4.5. It's down to 4 now, and I like it. I think that in a getaway game, the strike zone increases. We got winds blowing in, and I think runs are going to be hard to come by here across the board. Don't mind the full game either, but I'm going to go ahead and concentrate the first 5 under here.
I'll give a little bit of help for you too, Joe. Slade Ciccone, you're starting today. Just don't pitch to Junior Caminero, okay? Just walk him at all costs because otherwise you might be doing some damage. Get around to him, you'll be just fine. For me, I'm keeping it simple today. Went with an over yesterday on 2 bad baseball teams, but 2 worst pitchers. Easily hit it. By the way, do you know the Pirates had 7 runs before the second inning was over? Oh, you love those every night. I'm keeping it simple again tonight. Rangers and the Angels. Oh, Donny, I don't really like those lineups that much. So what? Kohanowitz is on the mound. Stop your handicapping right there. Get yourself 9 runs today and get to the window, as we like to say. So for me, Angels, Rangers, over 9. That's my best bet of the day for today.